I may have a slight Messiah complex. I started young, with worms. After the rain would saturate the soil and push their bodies up out of the ground onto asphalt, I couldn't bear to see them next day dead, stretched out, dehydrated, beyond my help. So I would pull on my yellow rain boots and my red plastic raincoat, take up my green umbrella to patrol the streets of Burnsville, Minnesota, flinging worms from concrete to grass again and again, around and around the block I would go until it grew dark and my mother would step out on the front street to call me in for supper. No matter how long I stayed out saving worms, there would still be many casualties scattered along the route to school the next day, like some kind of anti-yellow brick road, but that didn't stop me. At summer camp, I tried to save kids. Not for Jesus, I thought that best left to the professionals. I would try to save the misfits, befriend them, take an edge off the loneliness. I was a misfit too, but I could hide it as long as I didn't let anyone get too close. So I'd come home from camp with this ragtag bunch of new friends, and my mother would throw up her hands and say, "Where do you find these weirdos?" They all just stayed as misfitted as ever, but that didn't stop me. After getting married and planning a family, even though all our parts for that process worked fine, I said, we should adopt. There are too many children in the whole world without enough homes. And my husband said no, but I worked him over. Water over stone. And now we have two fantastic adopted kids. But what they need is loving, not rescuing. And if I'm really honest with myself, I know what all this saving is about. When I was young, and my sister with Down syndrome was born, an uneven number of chromosomes in every cell meant they didn't line up neatly in her body, ushering in a whole lot of suffering for her. And while she was the most magnificent person I ever knew, she still died too soon, only 37 years old. And I held her as she took her last breath. I couldn't save her. I always knew I wouldn't be able to save her. And I'm just beginning to think, maybe all this time I've had it wrong. Maybe instead of focusing on saving, I ought to be savoring my relationships with those I love, to love recklessly, knowing eventually everyone will die. Perhaps then I'll throw off my rain boots, my coat, my umbrella, be as bare and vulnerable as the worms, cast back my head, and feel the full force of the rain on my face. Abandoned goddess. She makes stars just to crush them into dust and grow diamonds for your collar. I should know. I once was one of hers. She held my hand so softly as she slit my wrist to drink my blood, just enough to keep me weak but alive. Daily, she unmade me in the heat of sunset and remade me with moonlight. And there was something magnificent about being made new again and again. Sometimes she forgets what she wants, but when she remembers, beware, she snaps lives like toothpicks to get it. She does not knit blankets or slippers. She knits fairy tales with giants, witches, and dragons masquerading as my loved ones out to get me. She makes no room for vanquishing evil in her stories, and there are never, ever any happy endings with her, but she filled me with such fire I mistook it for being alive. Look for her under every mountain. She is there. Name her if you dare. But I choose to make my own fairy tales where I am as powerful as giants and as clever as witches, and I fly as high as dragons. I will bathe in these stories and make myself new again and again. I'll fashion my own stars and fling them as far as they want to go, praying we might all shine free. If I were my own mother, I'd be proud, not of the degrees and awards, but because I stood at the edge of the abyss of myself and said, you deserve to go on. Do not blot yourself out. Step away from the chasm. If I were my own mother, I would not set tables with linen and china. I'd nourish myself with fresh tomatoes and cucumbers, avocados stirred with lemon and salt. Then I would ask, what else does this body need? If I were my own mother, I'd say, please, don't clean compulsively for me. Come sit. I've made tea. I would treasure my own secrets and nurture my own dreams. If I were my own mother, I would not say, hide in this dark cave where no one will ever hurt us. I would tenderly take my own hand and stand at the border of my mind's jungle, though even tigers slink away in fear. And I'd say, if you want company, I'll go with you, but you've got this, you know. If I were my own mother, I'd say sorry when I made mistakes. I would not say practice makes perfect. I'd say practice makes progress. So I might stand as tall and solid as the willow tree, with flexible branches blowing in the breeze. If I were my own mother, I would walk my adult self to the park and say, we are never too old to swing. Pump higher and higher, now jump.